How do you know that whatever God it is you follow? Because I'm claiming right now, I'm not claiming it's a religion because there's no real writings about it. I'm not claiming like the Jewish, Christian, Muslim, all those, how they kind of are all categorized in the same thing where there's like one God or whatever it is. Where I believe, since I stepped, I kind of stepped away from the stupidity of organized religion. I was raised in it, and I was like, this is just crazy because they say don't kill, don't steal, and the whole time they're killing animals, eating animals, stealing their skin. I guess because animals are, as far as I'm concerned, animals were here before us, made us. I don't believe in evolution. I don't believe in if there is any what is it where it's what's the word for it where intelligent design, then I'd believe that animals are the intelligence. Animals are, say if you're going to use a word, and since they think the creator of humans is a god, then I'm going to say that animals are God, and they created us, and they created us on other planets, and they're create, and they have this ability to go, from planet to planet, and that's what the extinction is. Is they're finding, they're it's their time to go, but problem is we're killing them off, so it's really they're not even. Will they even exist, or is our killing them off keeping them from existing on another planet, which is going to cut away from if they're peace, because most of the animals that are killed by humans are like herbivores, which are peaceful, basically. And so if you're killing them off and they're not able to exist on another planet because you kill them before their time, that they can think through everything that they have to do to be able to disappear here and exist on the next planet. And if you kill that off, then you're taking away that next existence, and thus you're taking away like an innocence or a knowledge. And you're thinking, well, I don't care, I don't believe in that. We believe in whatever the Jewish or Christian, they're all the same because they all came from Jewish background, except for like ancient Egypt, and unless that's all Neanderthal pushed forward. Neanderthal, wanderings, going, oh, well, this is wonders, because basically all religion is it's you don't have an answer for something, so you push it out and say, well, we're going to call it God or something like that. The person with the answer is going to be God, and you're not going to have the answer, but you're just going to say that's where the answer is, and that's what I believe. Like religion and all this God stuff is. I mean, you can go into 1,000 different reasons why there's a religion and stuff, but anyway, what I'm saying is like you wear their ski, you eat them for their innocence, and that's you eat them for the innocence. You wear them to hide your own. It's like maybe it's a sin. Maybe you're believing that you've sinned or something like that, so you want to hide in an animal because you know that they're better than you or whatever than that. Because most stuff, I mean, look at cars, Jaguar, and all this stuff is basically how everything's basically uh, copied from animals. We've turned it and twisted it to our own way, but it's basically all animals. I mean, pyramids, you could say, were termites, and which I've been reading that there's people buried below the pyramids, so they must have ran out of room in the cemetery and thought, well, we got to use this all for farmland. So we're just going to build upwards instead of outwards. Anyway, let's see, what was I talking about? Talking about, oh dang, religion. If it was, maybe it was just about wearing skin and eating meat, to hide your. You want something good, so you eat meat because you don't hold within you anything good because it's either your lineage or something has done something wrong, and you're trying to cover it up by saying, well, it's not me, it was, I'm of, you're basically turning into animal because it's better than you. Because basically, if you think of if the reality of it, I mean, is that the uncensored, uncontrolled thought combined of all the animals was God. Basically, it was like they were all, at one point they all came together, all thinking the same, and then they created all of their own. Since brain had developed, and seeing if you take the philosophy, I don't think it's a philosophy, it's just my theory or whatever it is, that animals existed, and if there's a planet growing, like giraffes and all the herbivores are like, we're going to eat this planet out of existence, or it can't keep up with our growth, so we're going to have to go someplace else. So they start, and they're already thinking, they're already out there in the as far as I'm concerned, their thought has been able to control or form other things, possibly plants and everything else. They didn't have to, because that's how they made humans, is their thought formed. It could have formed hominids, could have formed Neanderthal and all the things, and some of them are failed, that maybe they wasn't thinking at the time, and all they did was make a bone of something that was born from an animal, and it didn't actually come out to be a human or a Neanderthal or a Denisovan or whatever they call them, or a hominid, and they just well, okay, they made a hominid, and it was born from animals because it's in the womb. If you got a couple cells, they can easily be changed. If you got billions and billions of animals all thinking the same thing on the planet, and that thought is in that womb, going to control that, whatever that couple of cells is, turned it into whatever, turned it into another being or whatever. Now you're not going to see that because what's happened. You're not going to see that now because the humans have stolen as much thought as they are basically blasphemed what has made them. They've taken everything, they've eaten it, they bred against it, which is animals. They bred against it to dilute the truth, and they've killed it to kill the truth. They killed animals to kill the truth. You might not think that. You think, well, it tastes good or whatever, but it's basically, it doesn't taste good because you put condiments on it. There's not a lot of people that eat just meat, just raw, straight meat, like a lion. You don't eat it raw. You eat it cooked, and so you're trying to bring sugars into it. You spice it, and you condiment it, and you mix other stuff in it. So it's basically it would be bland to you after a while. And so anyway, so you've eaten meat to kill the truth, which is that animals made us. And you've taken religion, which is, whatever through time you didn't have an answer to, so you made up this thing that doesn't exist, written it down because humans, the combined, uncensored, uncontrolled thought of humans is basically Satan, if you're going to take it into effect. Even though we're an extension of animals, as are all animals, that, ever since the brain was first formed here, and the thought, the realization, and because it's basically electric, and so it's going to be able to change a pulse. It's going to be able to maybe switch a DNA or just a couple DNA sequences, and the more there are, they're easily switch and change a DNA sequence in cells to turn them into something else, because they're combined. The DNA is combined of all the animals at one point or another. Maybe not every. Since people have bred, people think, well, it's not true with us because but you've bred for hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years on your own, and or just a million years, on a million years of humans breed, or not humans, but I'll just say people breeding has, changed their DNA, but it's still under until they bred until they have taken through breeding and killing off all the thought that made them, because they're basically jealous. They want the freedom to control themselves, but then once they get it, they don't know what to do with it, and they just continue to. Is basically they turn into, at first they start out innocent, and then at some point they realize they want a freedom, and so they got to take away anything that's controlling them. But through killing them or breeding and diluting what is controlling them. And it was just animals saying, well, okay, this is, it's if there was a pressure a couple 100,000 years ago, 500,000 years ago, and it was still against, it would still be changing the form of what people have become through it's just the thought had already been there, and it was already powerful enough until you breed it out. You might have felt the power, but now by breeding, you've turned into that power, but it's diluted through your breeding, and you're killing off stuff. So whatever innocence that there was that you killed, you're losing that innocence of the animals that you've killed by eating them, and you're continue to there's something there in animals that you need, and it's not the protein, it's the knowledge of where you came from, it's your existence, and that's the reason you eat animals. This is just my theory. This is what I've come to for my lifetime, and I just look at religion as like that just everything's said in religion and in everything basically that humans write or believe in, they have a contradicting form no matter what. And I've found that this has no contradictions except the belief system, which is religion, government, because you believe government is doing right. They're not doing right. Religion is doing right. I mean, look at all the religions all the religion has done wrong. And look at what popularity. Oh, we're all doing, yeah, well, it's not all right. But this might be hard to understand. This is more like a explanation of a couple different things. It's just like where'd you get all of your stuff, and what are you going to do with it? And when you die, does what you've done to your skin and body, does it is it an energy? Is it like a diseased energy that once you're dead and gone, you got all these vaccines in you. Those vaccines, they don't last forever. So when your skin dies, there's that, all there is that vaccine, and then that, all that's going to follow you around. So that's like a dead disease And so if you were ever made on another planet and all the water and seeds in the water and fish eggs in the water go to the next planet where they're born, and then they make the seeds grow into whatever plants we form from here. Maybe they're weaker because we wanted a different food source or this, that, or the other. And we changed animals, so the fishes are polluted, and so their eggs are going to be weaker, so there's going to be less of them, and then maybe they're going to be weaker, and so all that weakness is going to is made from us here. And when all the seeds and fish eggs leave this planet when it's dead, with the oceans and the lakes, when they all evaporate into space into a one big globule, or rather it turns into a comet that just sails through and then hits a planet one day, or it just stays a globular and floats to the next planet and splashes, and then some of it goes and turns into maybe like another Pluto or a comet or a bunch of comets, or it goes some other place and lands on like another planet. And when that plant forms, the seeds and the seeds grow and the eggs grow and the fishes turn, and there's a brain there that changes things, and then one fish turns into another fish, and then those fish turn into different fish, and they keep turning because their thought keeps changing. It's like, well, there's something new, like because they're reborn. And then it goes through everything until humans are born again, or people, whatever you want to call. And are you going to go through the same steps of killing and eating and breeding animals? I mean, not breeding animals, but breeding other people, diluting the truth and killing the truth and such. So I don't know, 17 minutes. It's, if I had somebody watching these videos, I'd probably organize them, but all I get is nothing to watch. And I think it's a different. I haven't been able to run into a different viewpoint, except there's religions and philosophies and government and popularity and what they believe, and it's nothing of what I talk about in my videos and stuff. So, but I haven't seen any opposition to what I'm talking about. As far as I know, it's the full truth, So I do more, probably more in depth and more organized, so it'd be more like understandable instead of just talking about this and then that subject turns into this subject, and I just get into almost like what they call it, a chemical formation. So anyway, that's it for now.